we are fighting about political power. You know, they like easy targets, like 2022. But these complications about good governance, this is just rhetoric for them. But good governance sometimes takes even little people. You know, that little child from Sweden is making the world, you know, go to the streets in millions all over the world.
And Musalia couldn't attend a vigil.
Yeah.
What you have said on this program. All right, but just to clarify, what became of that pay bill exactly? How much was raised? How was this money used?
Well, if you look at the accounts, the NASA and the party ODM use every coin to go towards funeral expenses.
That hasn't been made public.
And giving people, you know, contributions. And even members of NASA included gave personal contributions. And to that extent, I really appreciate people like Pasaris. You know, she managed part of that account. And I'm very happy to have engaged her with Mudama, you know. She was running around looking for money.
How much was raised?
I think it was something about 5-6 million shillings.
5-6 million.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to, because this has been such a subject of contention, what happened to the money? Was it actually used? Do you think it's time to make those accounts public and show how it was used?
I think they are valuable. They are valuable if somebody wants to accounts to be given. I think between me, Senator Mudama, and Esther Pasaris, whom I must, you know, congratulate in this, because she was at the mortuaries, she was with the families, and giving us an account of what is required when we are going to, you know, to the where people were living and where these events took place.
Right.
You know, some of them came with us.
Okay. Why has ODM seemingly gone slow on demands for electoral reform right now? Is that strategic? Are you waiting on BBI?
I think yes, we are waiting, but we have our own positions that we have put before. And I think we don't want to be repeating these things because they're already in the public domain. Like on the issues of electoral justice, if you look at the bill that we came out with as OKOA Kenya, there was a whole chapter dealing with electoral justice and questions for the referendum, including how to form and establish the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission.
That's true, but I'm just saying that we don't hear that now, especially now when you seem to have the ear of government to be co-running it, as you have said. One would imagine that this is the time when you would find consensus building quite easy and would be, you know, quite loud and assertive about this.
Yeah, but it is for good measure that we are not loud. I think what should be heard now is what the people of Kenya are saying.
Okay, so
and if you followed what the committee was doing in the towns they went to, because they went to every county, there were lots of suggestions on these areas. And for that, I think it would be wrong for ODM to be saying it's either a way or
the highway.
Or the highway.
Why has NASA seemingly abandoned Miguna?
I don't think we have abandoned Miguna. If you go to the case that, you know, was prosecuted on his behalf in court, they were essentially NASA lawyers, me being one of them. I went up, I led the team up to the Court of Appeal, before Justice Chacha, before a panel of 3 judges in the Court of Appeal. When he was stuck at the airport, we were all there. But I think at the moment is...
that he's always online.
Yeah, he's
castigating you, saying you have all abandoned him.
Yes.
You secured a decision from the courts and are not pushing for its implementation.
Yeah, you see, for example, all of us, quite a number of us have been in exile. You know, the Kogi Wamwere, you know, there was Chalagat Mutai, Makao Mutua, Anyang' Nyong'o, Kiraitu Murungi, everybody has been in exile. And
Are you saying it's his turn? Are you saying it's his turn?
I don't think I'm not saying it's his turn. In fact, he was in exile at the time when lots of us were in exile. I'm not saying me particularly, but lots of other people were in exile. But I think we should come out of the mood of lamentations and fight it out. So I think we should fight it out in the courts. I think Miguna has every right to demand that he should be allowed to come back to Kenya.
How do you intend to stand with him in that respect?
Not just allowed to come back to Kenya. I think he should still make attempts to come back to Kenya, because the law. Hear what I'm saying?
I'm listening to you.
Yes.
But it sounds like you're sending him on a mission that you know is mission impossible.
No,
because he's tried it before. And isn't it more practical that now that you're in that agreement with President Kenyatta, that the coalition formally press this administration to do the right thing, to abide by court orders? Other than telling me, which is what it sounds like you're saying. You just board a flight and let's see what will happen.
Governments have many ways they work. Like, for example, you've had this ongoing thing about President Trump and the president of Ukraine. And in diplomatic language and rhetoric, the truth is somewhere there in the middle. When we're talking about Miguna to Uhuru's government, we are not using megaphone politics. I think there have been a lot of representations which have been made, and I think in the fullness of time, I think the issue will be addressed. For example, let me tell you.
He's just problematic, isn't he? That's the real issue, that Miguna is not the kind of individual that any party can contain or control.
In fact, you should come back and, all this hullabaloo is pure nonsense, if I may put it that way. And a lot of things happen to all of us. Like, for example,
you think
during the resist movement, the British government actually cancelled my visa, and had to take steps towards making sure that
the British government cancelled your visa?
Yeah, cancelled my visa. I could not travel to the UK, and they didn't just cancel; they wrote to me. Yeah. And I didn't announce it to the world that they've cancelled my visa. The United States government also, through their representatives.
You're saying he should suffer in silence?
No, I'm not saying he should suffer in silence. But toughen and there are many ways. There are many ways that issue can be resolved. And I can tell you, it's been 1 year. Any one day that Miguna is out there. Is not justifiable, but it's not that from where we sit, we don't do anything or we don't say anything.
Okay.
And if we were not doing it, if we were elected not to do anything about it, I would not have gone to court myself.
Okay. You threatened to impeach the deputy president under Article 154, gross misconduct. Why have you not pursued that if you still hold it to be true?
Well, in the United States, there are plans to impeach President Trump.
What about in Kenya?
And it's taking a bit of a while. Yeah, the fact that I've gone slow on it does not mean that I'm completely quiet and it never come again. Because, impeachment is a political process.
So those plans are still there?
So I'm not saying that the plans are not there. I'm not saying that I've retreated, but I've said he has committed some acts which are impeachable in accordance with our Constitution. What
about President Kenyatta? In 2015, you believed he too had done the same thing over not paying teachers, violating court orders, and defending Anne Waiguru over corruption allegations at NYS. Do you think, would the same answer apply, that you have not said you have stopped it entirely?
Yes, impeachment normally is a last resort. In the whole history of the United States of America, there have only been two impeachments. Andrew Johnson and President Clinton, because I think Nixon resigned
Correct.
before the process
Began.
Was undertaken. So it's not something that you want to use every time, but it is always important to remind those who exercise authority on our behalf that if you persist, if you continue, the tool is always there. And we used it against Moi, although at that time it was not impeachment.
Some would say this is just hypocrisy and political convenience. Now you're in a handshake, all's forgotten.
It's not. I think from where I sit, and I think my history is very clear, when I was bringing a motion on no confidence on President Moi, the state was more powerful. The state had more tools to intimidate people. Now there is nothing which can stop me. At the moment when I think I have prepared myself well enough and done the political work that is necessary.
So the Deputy President should watch this space. It's loading.
Well, I've never said I've withdrawn those threats.
All right. Let's quickly just touch on corruption. You support the ongoing war on corruption, do you think? Is it above board? Is it credible?
I support the war against corruption. The only thing that I said at the beginning, it tends to come in seasons. President Kenyatta, the first, had a season. President Moi had many seasons fighting against Magendo. Kibaki had his season with Anglo-leasing and all that. President Uhuru had 2 seasons. I think the war against corruption should be like a guided missile. You prepare a missile well enough that when it takes off, it doesn't miss the target. Because if it misses the target, it takes you a long time again to make the second attempt. I think some of the cases they bring into court are not well investigated. I think some of the cases they bring to court is to make it look to the country and to the people that there's a big war going on. I think it is something that should be done with the seriousness that it deserves. Otherwise, it can be counterproductive.
Sounds like you're agreeing with the Deputy President that there's some playing politics going on here.
No, I'm not saying that.
It's for show.
No, it's not for show. I'm just saying that you should, the campaign should go on, but you should be conscious of the problems that also go with it. I lived in Tanzania at one time when President Nyerere had this campaign against wahujumu wa uchumi. And a lot of people were arrested. It was a very popular campaign. But after about a year, President Nyerere found out that, a lot of people were being dragged into court without any proper foundation.
DCI is not doing a thorough enough job?
So I'm saying, what I'm saying, and I think I'm being very supportive. But all I'm saying is that they should do these investigations thoroughly, because when you have a good case, you can tell. And even if you have the best lawyer in the world, with a case that is well investigated and the evidence is there, the only alternative most of the time is to plea bargain.
Plea bargain.
Yeah.
If you believe, and I imagine you do, that corruption is systemic or endemic in Kenya, what is the concrete way to fix that? Is prosecution alone enough? People have talked about IFMIS almost appearing as if its sole purpose is to allow fraud of some kind to take place. Where do you fix it in the system?
I think the criminal justice system contributes 5% in any system in the war against corruption.
5%?
5%. The most important role that, or rather the best that can be done is establishing systems that do not allow corruption.
What do you mean by that, for instance?
For example, if you look even at the budgeting process, and I've been saying this, if you look at the budgeting process, corruption begins at the budgeting process. You know, like when they were planning these dams,
Right.
already people knew there are going to be dams. Those dams are going to need land, and 20 billion shillings was going to be put in one dam, or 60 or 70 billion. So people begin working towards, you know, getting contracts right at the beginning. In fact, they sell those projects during the budget making process. So one has to watch out right from the beginning where these ideas come from. Were they originally planned for?
By the government, or was it pitched by someone else? Is that what
pitched
you're saying?
by somebody else. I think if you go by the, you know, the financial legislation that we have at the moment, I think we've got pretty good legislation as opposed to 5-10 years ago. But the system doesn't work because we allow it not to work. If you take somebody